We're going to be doing another short Thanksgiving trip along US 44. Come on, let's go. Alright everyone, happy Thanksgiving, and to celebrate this year's Thanksgiving, we're doing the other highway that goes to Plymouth, Massachusetts. We're doing US Highway 44. And US 44 is an interesting route as it goes through some beautiful scenery, but boy, it does have a lot of error shields on this route, including a resurrected US 55 error shield in New York, so that'll be fun. And we're also going to be doing both 384 and 291. So let us get started with this Thanksgiving video. But first, you're watching the TheDerpHog, where I make highways content on all sorts of different topics. If you've been enjoying it, be sure to hit that like button. And if you've been really enjoying it, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you're notified on all future videos. And if you really want to help out the channel, become a member today, where you get custom cool emojis, early access to future videos, along with one free extra request per month. And if you don't want to become a member, you can always just pay $3 for a intersection request in future videos. Those highways will be listed down in the description below, and I'll make sure to shout you out when that video releases. So let's get on with the highway. As you can see here, this is a map of US 44 as it starts at a junction with US 209 in Cohasset, New York, and heads east towards Plymouth, Massachusetts, where it ends at Route 3A. So with that, we're going to be talking about eastbound US 44. So we begin here in Cohasset, and right away New York is giving us an error shield. Come on, New York, we're only like 30 seconds into the video and you already give us an error shield? What is wrong with you? And then they double down on it once we get onto the highway itself. Literally, you can just fix those shields. But finally, further up the road when we meet New York Highway 32, we get a correct shield, as you can see in the distance, covered up by the trees. And we're now getting the control city of Clintondale. I mean, prefer to see Highland, but Clintondale is still a pretty big town too. Ah, are you kidding me? We get another error? This time it's for New York Highway 55. And let me tell you something, New York, US 55 hasn't been in existence in a long time. So, are you trying to revive it or something? Come on, man. And then here we are going under Interstate 87, or the New York Thruway, and we do not have a direct interchange with it, sadly. And here in Highland, we're meeting with US 9W, and we're going to become concurrent with it as we head towards the Mid-Hudson Bridge and Newburgh. And this is where we split off from US 9W, as we're going to be crossing over the Hudson River into Poughkeepsie. And here on the Mid-Hudson Bridge, we're crossing over the Hudson River, and this is a cool shot of it. And then on the other side, in Poughkeepsie, we're meeting with regular US 9, and I'm glad that New York decided to write out US 9 instead of getting us an actual shield, because there is a pretty good chance that they could have messed it up here too. And then here in Arlington, which is on the eastern side of Poughkeepsie, we're splitting off from New York Highway 55, and we're getting signed for Millbrook. Yeah, I prefer to see Amina here because Amina is like larger than Millbrook, but Millbrook is still where we meet the Teutonic State Parkway. Are outside of Millbrook, and we meet the Teutonic State Parkway here, and I heard that it is New York's most dangerous road here. And then look at that, here in Amina we're meeting with New York Highway 343 and New York 22, and we become concurrent with New York 22 as we head towards Millerton, but New York 343 is heading towards Sharon, Connecticut here. And then we split off from New York Highway 22, and we are now signed for Lakeville. No, I'd rather see Canaan, Connecticut here, because Canaan is way bigger than Lakeville, and plus in Canaan we meet US Highway 7, so sign Canaan, New York. And then since there is barely any of New York left, we're now entering the state of Connecticut, and like many states, Connecticut does not give us a state welcome sign literally right on the border. As you can see, it's in the distance over there. And here's that Welcome to Connecticut sign. It looks pretty lame, to be honest. Hey, look at that! Connecticut is one of those states that give us a mileage sign right away, and we're getting signed for Canaan as our primary. And then here we are, US Highway 7 in downtown Canaan, and we're going to become concurrent with it as we head through the town. And then here in East Canaan, we're splitting off with US Highway 7 as we're now assigned for Norfolk and Winstead. And then here we get a 3-line mileage sign with Winstead as our primary from 16 miles away. And here in Winstead, we're meeting with Connecticut's Route 183 and 8 here. And here we only get controls for Connecticut Route A. But if we take a look up the road, we're splitting off with Connecticut 183. And we're now getting signed for New Hartford. I mean, that's alright. I prefer to see regular Hartford instead. Wow, Connecticut, you read my mind. We're getting signed for Hartford from 24 miles away. And then here, outside of Canton, Connecticut, we're meeting with US Highway 202, and we can concurrent with it as we head towards Avon and Hartford. And then here in Avon, we're splitting off from US 202 as we're now getting signed for both West Hartford and Hartford proper. And the next mileage time we get Hartford as our primary from 10 miles away. Good job, Connecticut. I'm liking this state so far, and this is the first time I've ever done it on my channel. And then here in downtown Hartford, we can get a pretty cool view of the skyline here. And within the city, we're actually passing by Duncan Park. Interesting. I wonder if there's like a minor league baseball team that plays here. And if they're any season shareholders, I wonder if they get free donuts and coffee. And then here in the heart of Hartford, we're meeting with both Interstate 84 and 91. 84 gets the awesome control city of Boston, while 91 gets so-so for New Haven. And on the other side of Hartford, we're meeting with US Highway 5 now, and we're going to become concurrent with it as we head through eastern Hartford. And then we are splitting off from it as now US 44 is going to continue east towards Rhode Island. And here in eastern Hartford, we're meeting with Interstate 84 now. And US 6 is now joining us the party here. And for some reason, we don't have a control city for 84 East. But further up the road, we're now getting a directional sign here for both Manchester and Willimantic for both 6 and 44. And then when we meet Interstate 384, 6 and 44 are now getting signed for Mansfield and Providence, which are great choices. And here we split off from US Highway 6 as it's getting signed for Willimantic and Providence, while 44 is getting signed east for Coventry and Mansfield. I mean, since both highways do technically take you to Providence, I bet 6 is faster for some reason. And then here's some regular signs, and we're now just getting signed for Coventry. What happened to Mansfield? And then here at Connecticut 31 in Coventry, we're now getting signed for Yukon and Mansfield. Interesting. And then here we get a Georgia dyslexic mileage sign, and we get Providence as our primary from 54 miles away. Wow, good job, Connecticut. And then here in Putnam, we're actually meeting with Interstate 395 here. And it looks like it's a Connecticut thing to just sign the control for whichever direction of highway you're meeting first. And after meeting Interstate 395, we're now getting Providence still as our primary from 26 miles away. And then we're now entering into the state of Rhode Island. And then here in the middle of Rhode Island, we're meeting with both Rhode Island 100 and 102, and we're concurrent with Route 102 as we head towards Providence. On the outskirts of Providence, we're meeting with Interstate 295 here. And we can see in the distance that Interstate 295 gets a control city of Warwick. And then here's where US 44 is now entering into downtown Providence. And here's where US 44 is now going to be joining with US Highway 1 as we still continue towards downtown Providence. And here's another cool view of downtown Providence, right in the heart of the city. On the other side of the city, we're now meeting with Interstate 195, and we're becoming concurrent with it as we head toward Taunton. Oh boy, not again. We're getting the US 501 treatment here. US 44 is splitting off from US 6 and Interstate 195, and we're getting signed for Taunton Avenue and Riverside. And guess what? It is literally the same thing. Instead of US 44 getting the control city, it's the other exit that gets the control city, which literally happens for US 501 right here in Durham. Rhode Island, why in the world are you doing this? Just drop that avenue off of Taunton Avenue, because US 44 is heading towards Taunton. And here we make another error shield, this one by Rhode Island, and they're falsely signing this as Route 1A instead of US Highway 1A. Fix it. And then since Rhode Island is a tiny state, we didn't have much of it left, but we're now entering into the state of Massachusetts. And then our first junction in Massachusetts, we get Taunton as our primary. And here we now get Taunton and Cape Cod as our control cities. And then here in downtown Taunton, we're meeting right in front of the Taunton Square here. And not Massachusetts, they're making an air shield here too, as we're now getting signed for New Bedford and Cape Cod. Why not Plymouth? We're now heading towards Plymouth. And this is where we split off from Route 140, as US 44 is now just getting signed for Cape Cod, but with the wrong shield. Now we're meeting Route 24, which will take you over to Fall River, and look at that, we get another error shield here. Come on, Massachusetts. And then further up the road, we're now meeting with Interstate 495, and man, that 495 video was a long time ago. If you want to check it out, it's in the top right corner here. And then on the other side of 495, we're meeting with routes 28 and 18, and we're leaving it on the other side of the roundabout here. And we're now finally signed east for Plymouth. Finally. And then here's where US 44 becomes a freeway as we head towards Route 3. And here we are meeting Route 3. We're going to be joining with it as we head towards Cape Cod. 3 North heads towards Boston. And this is where US 44 splits off from Route 3 as we're now just getting signed for Plymouth Center. And then here in the heart of Plymouth, we get an N44 shield. And we're also meeting with Route 3A. And if you want to check out downtown Plymouth on Route 3A, I recommend checking out my Massachusetts Route 3 video, which was last year's Thanksgiving video. So with that, we're going to be turning around and doing westbound US 44. So we begin here on Route 3A itself, where US 44 is now getting signed west for Middleborough and Providence, which are good choices. And here's where we meet Route 3, and we're going to become concurrent with Route 3 North here, as we're now getting signed for Kingston and Boston. And this is where US 44 splits off from Route 3, as 44 is now getting signed west for Taunton and Providence, which are great choices. Here we are meeting Interstate 495 once again, and it's getting signed for Marlborough and Boston. And then here we are meeting with Route 24, and this time we have the correct shield for westbound 44. Hey MassDOT, why can't you do the same thing for eastbound 44? But in Taunton, they're taunting us with air shields once again, because this direction we get air shields. Ugh. Okay, this one might be the stupidest of them all. Here, we get an air shield for 44 eastbound, but for westbound, we get the correct shield. Why can't you just put both shields on both signs? Come on, MassDOT, come on. And then further up the road, 44 is now getting signed west just for Providence. And then we're now entering into the state of Rhode Island once again, in East Providence. And then for up the road, we're now meeting with Interstate 195. We're going to be concurrent with it and US Highway 6. And then on the other side of the river, US 44 is splitting off from both Interstate 195 and US 6, as we just get the Kentucky trimming here, which is a good thing because we're about to enter in downtown Providence. And then here in downtown Providence, we get another air shield. What is up with these air shields on US 44? And we're now meeting with Interstate 295 on the other side of the city, and we can see that 295 is being signed both for Boston and Lincoln, along with this cool view of fall shot. And then on 295 itself, 44 is now getting signed west for Smithfield. No, that should be Putnam, not Smithfield. Smithfield is literally within the state, so Rhode Island is literally being provincial here. And then further up the road, we're now entering back into the state of Connecticut with great signage, but a bad welcome sign. And then here we are meeting with Interstate 395, and like I said, we just get 395 North Control City here, 395 South is on the other side of the bridge. And then here we just get another directional sign for Putnam and Pomfret. And then here we are meeting with US Highway 6 once again, and we become concurrent with it as we head towards Interstate 384. And here's the start of Interstate 384, as 6 and 44 are going to be splitting west towards Bolton. And we're actually going to be staying on Interstate 384 here, because I don't know when the next time I'll ever be in the New England region here on my channel. And then here's our first exit going westbound on 384, and it's for Highland Street. And then we're now meeting with Connecticut 83, which will take you into downtown Manchester, as 384 is now just signed solely west for Hartford. And this is the ending to 384, as 84 is now getting signed west for Hartford, while 84 East is being signed for Boston and Windsor. And here's another odd thing about the New England region. So you know how we saw 395 earlier? Well, guess what? That turns into Interstate 290, but here, on 384, it turns into Interstate 291. So, what is up with the New England states and just having two separate routes for one road? Why not just do one number for one road, or the other for the same road? This is confusing! But here we are meeting with US 6 and 44 once again, and we're actually going to be following Interstate 291 because 291 and 384 are literally one of the same road. And here is where 291 splits off from Interstate 84, as we're now signed west for Windsor. And here we get a cool shot of snow as we're about to get onto the flyover ramp over Interstate 84. In our first exit on 291, we are meeting US Highway 5, which is signed for South Windsor and East Hartford. And here we are crossing over the Connecticut River here, and on the other side of the river we're meeting with Interstate 91, and we're now going to be hopping onto 91 itself to head towards Hartford. And here to get back onto US 44, we are now going to take the exit for 84 West or Trumbull Street. And then once back on 44 here in Avon, we're meeting with US Highway 202. And 202 and 44 are going to be concurrent as we head towards Canton, Connecticut. And here in Canton, we're splitting off from US Highway 202. And let's see what we're signed for at this split. Hey, looks like we're getting signed for New Hartford and Winstead. And then here in Winstead, we're meeting with Connecticut's Route 183 and Route 8 once again. And this is where Route A splits off from us, as we're now getting signed for Norfolk here. And then here we get another mileage sign. We get Norfolk as our secondary and Canaan as our primary from 17 miles away. And then here in Norfolk, we're now getting Canaan as our primary and Lakeville from 15 miles away. Come on, Connecticut, you're literally right on the money up until this point. Why are you signing a provincial town? Why can't you just do something in New York? Come on. But here in Canada, we're meeting with US Highway 7 once again, and we're going to become concurrent with it here. And oh look, we have a sequential mileage sign. We get Sheffield, Massachusetts from 6 miles away, Salisbury from 7, Lakeville from 8, and then they had to break the chain with Great Barrington, Massachusetts from 12 miles away. You could have just put a 9 or another town that's 9 miles away. And then here in Canaan, right in front of this pizzeria here, US 7 is splitting off from us, as US 44 is going to continue into New York once again. And then here, look at that, New York gave us a welcome sign. And then here we are arming with New York Highway 22, and we're getting signed for Amina as our primary, which is a good choice. That's where US 44 splits off from New York 22. And here's where we split off from New York Highway 22, as we're now getting signed for Millbrook. Personally, I'd like to see Poughkeepsie here instead of Millbrook, because Poughkeepsie is way bigger than Millbrook. And plus, that's where we meet US 9, WA9. And then here we are meeting the Teutonic State Parkway once again in Millbrook. And here outside of Poughkeepsie, we're meeting with New York Highway 55 once again. And then right as we are about to cross over the Hudson River, we're meeting with US Highway 9 once again. And then on the other side of the river, we're now going to be joining with US 9W, as we're now getting signed for Kingston and Highland. And here's where we split off from US Highway 9W, as we're now heading west towards... And come on, New York, why are you making another error? This is literally in the middle of nowhere. Ugh. And then after passing through that town, we're now going under the New York State Thruway once again, or Interstate 87. And then here you are meeting with New York 32 once again. We're now getting signed for Gardner, which is 3 miles away. I mean, that's actually bigger than Kurhanskin, so that's a good choice. But in Gardner, we're now getting signed for Kurhanskin, and let us see what is happening at this junction here. Hey, look at that! We get another error shield. And it's another one of those stupid ones once again. So here we get a correct shield, but over here we get the wrong one. What in the world are these states doing? Are they blind or something? Why can't they have 2 of the correct shields? Here at US 44 ends, we get another error shield. This time it's for not US 44, but US 209. New York is making an error as New York 209. New York, what is wrong with you with all these errors? You're like Northern Georgia with all these errors. Why do you make them? But at least we do get an N44 shield, so that's pretty cool, I guess. So with that, we are going to be ending US 44 and moving on to the places I'll go. So these are all the places I'd visit if I ever was on US 44 up in the New England region. So these are all the places that I'd visit. I hope you can read them. And I hope you can recommend anything if I ever do come to those places. So that ends US Highway 44. Thank y'all so much for watching this little Thanksgiving episode on US Highway 44. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about this highway, and I certainly want to be on it one day because it looks pretty interesting. Besides all those error shields, that just makes me angry. So with that, here are my next few highways. If you have any intersection requests for any of these upcoming highways, please put them down in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to shout you out when these highways releases. So thank you guys for watching, have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see y'all next week when we do US 19.